Hello and welcome to another off-the-shelf board game review. Today we're going to look at Galaxy Trucker, a zany, frantic game where players will be racing each other in an effort to build a spaceship out of space junk. The idea is to build a spaceship that isn't going to fall apart on its galactic flight across the galaxy. Whoever can build the best ship that can survive the rigors of space without blowing into little itty-bitty pieces and make it to their destination with the most cargo is going to get the most money. Whoever make the best 3 trips is going to score the highest amount of money, win all the cosmic credits, and win the game. The Anniversary Edition takes everything that's been made for Galaxy Trucker, bundles it up in one very nice box, and retails for $125. In Galaxy Trucker, each player is going to get a ship blueprint. The first blueprint is going to be pretty small, but as the game goes on, each player is going to get a larger and larger blueprint to build their ship. They're going to race each other with a timer, digging through a pile of upside down ship parts, trying frantically to put their ship together, following certain rules, but the idea is to build a ship that's going to survive the rigors of space. Once they've got their ship put together, they're going to grab their crew and their aliens and fly across space in an effort to get a whole bunch of cargo so they make a little bit of extra money on their voyage. Their journey across the galaxy is going to be tracked by a board as the players are racing each other. Usually the person who's furthest in the lead has the best chance to get the good stuff on their journey across the galaxy. It's not going to be easy though, because the player is going to have various encounters based on draws from our card stack that's going to cause a lot of calamity and a lot of difficulties for our players, from meteors to pirates to smugglers to any kind of zaniness that you can think of from any science fiction show you've seen in the past. Whichever players can make it to the final destination with their ship in the least amount of pieces with the most cargo is going to get extra money just for completing their journey across space. The player's going to do this 3 times. Whoever makes it all the way to the end and has the most amount of money is going to be the winner. But truly, if you make it across, make it through all 3 journeys with any amount of money, consider yourself a winner. The 5th Anniversary Edition for Galaxy Trucker comes in a really nice box with a very nice molded insert. I've added a couple storage containers to my copy of the game, and the reason why I did that is I play this game with my 4 and my 7-year-old sons, and I like to keep the more difficult components separated so we can play a quick game just using the basic rules. And the extra components for the storage I've added are these things called really useful boxes. I got actually 4 of them in this set. If you're interested in these things, they're called really useful boxes, or RUB for short. You can usually find them at Office Max and online at Office Max. They range anywhere from 50 cents to $1.29. Interestingly enough, the smaller boxes range on the higher end of the $1.29, and the bigger box is usually about the 50-cent one. Again, you usually find them at Office Max. They're called really useful box, or sometimes they're abbreviated to RUB for rub. As I was saying, the 5th Anniversary Edition comes with a really nice molded insert, keeps all the components separated. On the left hand side, there's a storage space for the rule books. It comes with all 3 rule books. You have the basic rule book for the basic rules. You have the first expansion rule book and the second expansion rule book. There's also a little flyer that describes how to use the Even Steven cards. Now, the Even Steven cards, if you're familiar with Galaxy Trucker, there were a little side expansion added in that I think you could get at conventions or at Board Game Geek. It's actually been included in this game now. So like I said before, everything that's ever been made for Galaxy Trucker is available in this box set, and it tells you how to use those Even Steven cards. There's also a little quick summary about how to use all the various components in the game, a quick summary for them. And there's also a nice little comic, and if you're not familiar with Galaxy Trucker has a lot of comedy, and it has probably some of the best rule books to read I've ever read. They've got a lot of inside jokes, a lot of comedy in them. It lampoons a lot of the science fiction tropes that we've all seen. It lampoons Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It lampoons aliens movies. If you read through the rule book, you're going to find a lot of the lampoons in there. Really funny to read. Kind of a nice little enjoyment when you're trying to read a rule book or learn a brand new game. If you're familiar with rule books designed by Vlada Chvátil, the designer of Galaxy Trucker, you'll know that he designs his rule books for you to learn the game in pieces, and Galaxy Trucker is no different. The beginning of the rule book is going to show you how to play a basic version of the rules. Then he's going to slowly start adding in more rules until by the time you're at the end of the rule book, you're going to have a full understanding of the game. And this rule book is really well written. It's designed very well. It begins by showing you how to play a basic game by designing your ship, Once you've learned how to design your ship, it's going to show you how to fly your ship across the galaxy, how the adventure cards work. And the game actually comes with some basic adventure cards, and it's going to show you how to play the basic game just using those. And then it's going to show you how to start throwing all the components. And then by the time you get to the end of the book, you're going to basically be using all the components from the basic game, and then you get some extra variants. And there's even a little section on the back which answers a whole bunch of frequently asked questions about the rules. All three of the rule books are designed like that. Makes it really easy to learn the game, and these are some really well designed rule books, and again, they got a lot of comedy and it makes it a lot easier to read. This box weighs almost 10 pounds, and there's a good reason for it. It comes with a lot of cardboard. There are multiple ships for this game. There's enough for 5 players for ships. There's a shipboard. Again, this cardstock for these is really well designed. It's nice thick cardstock. This isn't the cheap construction paper or cardstock type quality. This is actually thick cardboard. They're well designed. All these are double-sided. They're going to be different blueprints depending on what flight you're on, first, second, or third flight. And if you forget, there's a 1, a 2, and the level 3 ships are the same. It comes with multiple ships. These are all the ships from all the expansions. They're all going to play a little bit differently, but they're going to add a lot of variety to the game, and there's actually some really cool ships that have been added to the game now. This is like a flotilla type ship where you're actually flying 2 ships across the galaxy. There's some really challenging ships if you've been playing Galaxy Trucker for a while and you want to make the game more challenging for yourself. Lots of neat, really cool stuff. A lot of cardboard here, and again, this is some really good quality cardstock, nice and thick. On a nice note, none of this cardboard has warped on me yet, and I've had this box almost 3 weeks now, getting pretty close to 3 weeks. Multiple plays with my family and friends. Nothing's warped yet, so I'm really happy to report good quality on the cardstock on the cardboard there. The game comes with over 100 cards. The cardstock on the cards is decent quality, not super thick, not super thin. Probably, I go iffy on the quality of the thickness. Not too bad though. They have a good laminate on them. Their artwork is pretty cool on them. Very easy text to read on them. The game uses mostly symbols, so you don't have to read small text, which is really, really nice. Pretty colorful, nice to read, large fonts and everything used for these cards. Even the text that is there is very easy to read, very nice. Again, not the highest thickness quality cardstock here, but not too bad. And this isn't exactly a game where you're going to be shuffling cards constantly over and over, such as a deck building game. So I wouldn't worry about the cardstock wearing out on you anytime soon. The game comes with plastic meeples, and these are going to be in the shape of astronauts. Look kind of cool. They have a little bit of detail on them. If you played Galaxy Trucker before, you're going to be pretty familiar with these guys. If not, they look like a little comical little astronaut with this little respirator on the back. Pretty cool. There's little pieces of plastic, basically look like Tic Tacs. Don't try to eat them. I don't think this will freshen your breath too well. These are used for battery tokens. These are made out of a thick little plastic, not glass, but the thick little plastic. Pretty good quality on those also. The game has plastic for the aliens and your ships that are going to go across the board. Again, really good quality there. The game has wooden cubes. These are going to be used for your supplies. They come in 4 colors. These are wooden cubes. Nice, decent quality on these. You've seen wooden cubes before, but nice that they actually use wooden cubes versus plastic or cardboard or anything like that. Nice little touch there. There's a lot of cardstock. These are all used for the ship pieces. Again, this is thick cardstock. You don't have to worry about these tearing or fraying anytime soon. They're very good. Nice quality on those. These are the same pieces right here just for the first expansion, the second expansion. More cardstock over here for the money tokens. Again, good thick quality cardstock on these. Very nice. The game does come with 2 dice. They're wooden dice, which is a really nice touch. I personally like wooden dice. They're ever so slightly engraved with gold accents on them. Kind of nice. Very nice inclusion using wooden dice versus the cheaper plastic. I appreciate that. And finally, the box comes with an hourglass timer for you to time your turns while you're building your spaceship. Overall, the game does come with a lot of cardstock, especially for the spaceships and the spaceship components. It retails for $125, which may seem a little bit high, but you got to realize this is a basic game plus 2 expansions, and if you were to buy all 3 of those at retail, you'd be spending more than $125. And additionally, the anniversary edition does come with the Even Steven cards that you cannot get in either of the expansions. Not to mention that if you get the anniversary edition, all your card backs are going to match, which was a problem with the earliest releases of the game. Between the original game and the expansion, some of the card back colors weren't quite matching up. And you're going to get a really nice storage molded insert that keeps all the game's components in one nice, easy to store, large box. The basic game of Galaxy Trucker is thankfully actually a very easy game to teach, play, and explain. It's actually simple enough that a 4-year-old literally can actually play the basic game and actually have a lot of fun, especially when they watch Daddy's ship blow into little itty bits, lose its engines, crash, explode, laugh, make it to the end of the game, and say, "Daddy, guess what? You lost again." Each player is going to start with a blueprint, and all players are going to have the exact same blueprint, and it's going to be based on which voyage you're going on. Again, you're going to go through 3 voyages, first, second, and third. Your first voyage is going to start with your first blueprint, the smallest ship available. Every person is going to start with a cabin that's going to start on the center of the board, right on the number. So for the first day flight, the cabin goes here. For the second day flight, the cabin goes right here on the number 2. You'll notice that the cabin has a whole bunch of connectors on it. The basic cabin has what's called 4 universal connectors. And the way you recognize a universal connector is the fact that it has 3 connectors on each side. So you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 all the way around. That's actually a universal connector. It'll connect to any other connector in the game. I'll explain that in just a little bit. At the beginning of the game, the bravest player is going to shout out, "Go," and this saying less timer is going to be turned upside down. Then all the players are going to race frantically, digging through this pile, one tile at a time. They're going to bring it over above the board, turn it over, and figure out if they can use it to help make their ship just a little bit more survivable on this journey. There's quite a few different kind of pieces that you attach to your ship. There's shields, which will block small meteors coming from the directions that the shield is actually facing. So this will block any meteor coming from this direction or this direction, but these 2 directions are left unprotected. Get at least 2 shields if you want to have a good ship that's going to survive. The next thing you can put on your ship are engines. Obviously you're going to want engines, otherwise your spaceship isn't going to go anywhere. There's single engines, and then there are double engines. Double engines are like a single engine, except you get 2 of them for 1 piece, but they have to be powered by batteries. Without batteries, a double engine is useless. It can't be used as a single engine. No batteries, no engine. Next we have the guns. You want guns to blow up the bad guys. Single gun is worth 1 gun. And then of course you have the double gun, which, a lot like the engine, is pretty worthless without a battery. If you have no batteries, it's worth nothing. If you have at least 1 battery to power it, it's worth 2 guns. Next thing you're going to have are crew cabins. You can't have a spaceship without crew. Your crew cabin can be used to house 2 astronauts or 1 alien. Of course, you can't actually have an alien in one of these crew cabins unless you have a life support system for a brown alien attached to it, not on your ship. That blue or that life support system for that brown alien actually has to be attached to that life support system directly to that cabin. There's a life support system for a brown alien, and there's also a life support system for the purple alien. Next we have our cargo holds. We have our hazardous waste cargo holds, which is worth the most money when you deliver the hazardous waste cargo, which is the red cargo. The amount of squares is how many squares a cargo can hold. And then you have your standard cargo hold, which can hold the blue, yellow, and green cargo. And as you can see, this one can actually hold 2 units of cargo versus this one, which can only hold 1 unit of hazardous cargo or any kind of cargo. Again, hazardous can hold hazardous or regular cargo. The regular cargo holds can only hold regular cargo. They cannot hold hazardous cargo. Finally, we're going to have the batteries. Each one of these is going to represent up to 3 batteries. Battery is a one-time use. Once it's used to power either an engine or a gun, it's discarded. You have a battery that represents 3 batteries. There's also a dual battery, which can only hold 2 batteries on the square. And finally, you have universal connectors, which really don't do much except help hold your ship together, especially if you're struggling trying to get all the parts to connect. Now you may notice all these pieces have little connectors along them. There's triple connectors or universal connectors, which will connect to any other connector. You'll see a 1, 2, 3 triple connector. There are double connectors, which will only connect to another double or a universal connector. And finally, you have your single connectors, which will only connect to another single connector or a universal connector. So universal will connect to a double or a single, but a single will not connect to a double at all. So universal connects to anything, single will connect to single, and double will connect to a double or another universal. Now there are certain rules you have to follow when you're building your ship. The biggest rule is that an engine has to face the back of your ship. So if you were to place an engine such as this, not only is that an illegal placement and an illegal move, which is going to cause you a lot of problems when it comes time for your ship to take off, it's also going to cost you a lot of money at the end of the game. Engines have to face the rear of your ship. And not only do they have to face the rear of your ship, and of course they can be up here or up here, but as long as they're facing the rear of your ship, on top of them having to face the rear of your ship, they also cannot have anything in the space immediately behind them. So if you had this piece here, this would be an illegal move for two reasons. One, there's a piece behind your engine, that's illegal. Secondly, there's no connector there. A single has to connect to a single. An open space cannot connect to another connector. So, for example, this connection is not legal for the simple fact that this open connector is not connected to anything, not a legal placement of a ship piece. Lasers also have a couple of special rules to them. Like an engine, nothing can be directly in the laser's line of fire. So if you have a laser right here, you cannot have any pieces in front of the laser because it makes the ship an illegal ship. You can't have an engine in front of it. You can't have another laser in front of it. Nothing can be in front of the laser's firing arc. Of course, you can skip a space and put something one extra space ahead. Remember, these ships you're building are three-dimensional ships. Don't think of them as two-dimensional ships. So if this laser is right here and this space is open and you have another laser here, not only is that a legal placement, but you have two lasers that can fire forward. This laser's placement does not block this laser's firing. Both of them do have valid firing arcs. So basically what is going to happen in the beginning of the game, players are going to race each other frantically, racing that timer, trying to build their ship. The very first person to complete building their ship is going to flip this timer over onto the start space, which is going to give every remaining player till the end of that timer to finish building their ship. As soon as that timer ends, everybody must immediately stop and fly their ship no matter what condition it's currently in. And if you don't have any engines on, you're not going anywhere. So now that I explained to you that you want all these pieces, you probably want to know why you want all these pieces on your ship. Well, you're going to want shields on your ship because they're going to protect your ship from small meteors. Now I emphasize small meteors, not large meteors. And they're also going to protect you from small laser fire, not large laser fire, but small laser fire from the directions the shield is facing. So if this shield was on your ship facing this direction, it's going to protect your ship from all meteors, small meteors, and all small laser fire coming from the front and from the side. Whereas opposed if this shield was turned this way, it's going to protect your ship from all small meteors and laser fire coming from this direction and also from behind your ship. And next you're going to want engines on your ship. Well, your spaceship needs engines. Not only that, it's going to help you get in the lead on the track when you're trying to get across the galaxy. And that's going to be really important because the person in the lead gets first choice when it comes to things like finding abandoned stations and ransacking them for the good supplies, landing on planets and choosing the best planet to get supplies to fly across the galaxy, and other small benefits. So it's always best to be the first person because you get first right of refusal for all things. Of course, that also means you're also going to be the first person to encounter the pirates and the smugglers, but you got to take the good with the bad. And of course, if you built your ship well, you don't have to worry about the smugglers and the pirates because you're going to defeat them too and get a couple of extra bonuses. Next, we're going to have the life support system. Now, you're going to want a brown life support system on your ship and next to a ship cabin. That way, you can have a brown alien on your ship. And why do you want a brown alien on your ship? Because a brown alien makes your engines better because they're professional pilots and they just know how to make engines work just a little bit better. So you're allowed to have one maximum brown alien on your ship and one maximum purple alien on your ship. A brown alien is going to add +2 to your engine strength, and a purple alien is going to add +2 to your gun strength. Now if you forget which one goes with which, just remember that purple alien matches the purple color of the gun, so +2 to guns. The brown alien matches the brownish color of your engines, so they're going to add +2 to your engines. And finally, your ship is going to want guns, so you can deal with the large meteors, so you can deal with the pirates, and so you can deal with the smugglers. And of course, you're going to have crew aboard your ship, not just aliens, but actual full-fledged crew aboard your ship to help pilot your ship, because if you don't have any pilots on your ship's not going anywhere, because apparently aliens like to go on strike and there's no astronauts to keep them online, and they're not going to fly your ship for you. So basically, the crazy hecticness of the shipbuilding stage is going to come from the fact that you want as many crew quarters as you can on your ship so you can survive the smugglers, so you can find the abandoned ships to take the good goods out of the game, and also get the best benefits. Of course, you're going to want the most guns on your ship so you can fight out the smugglers and the pirates and the big meteors, but you're also going to want the most amount of storage space so you can get the good goods, take them across the galaxy and get the most rewards. But of course, you're also going to want the most engines so you can get across the galaxy. All this has to be considered on this really tiny blueprint, making it really hectic but a lot of fun trying to build the best spaceship. Players are going to continue to grab one piece at a time, looking at it, seeing if they can fit it on the board. If they like it, place it on the board in a legal position. If they don't like it, they place it back in the pile face up. Now, a face-up tile can be grabbed by another player, so that's kind of an advantage of sometimes going a little bit slow in the beginning, watching the pieces get thrown back out. You also have the option of holding up to 2 pieces off to the side on your shipboard. The trick is, if you don't eventually use those pieces somewhere on your ship, they are going to cause another penalty for you, so you want to be careful about putting those 2 pieces there. The benefit to that, though, is that nobody can grab those pieces off your shipboard. The negative, again, though, is if you don't get those pieces on your shipboard, they're going to be worth 1 minus credit each when it comes time to tally up those credits. Once your ship is built to your satisfaction, you're going to grab the player token for your player order. Again, you want to try to be player number 1. You may have some strange strategy that makes you want to be player 2, but normally you're going to want to grab the first one, be player number 1 as the first person to build your ship. Second person to build their ship is going to grab the number 2, and so on, 3, 4, and 5. Everybody's going to grab their token. That's going to judge what position they're going to start the race once we come to the actual flight across the galaxy. Once everybody's got their place in the race that's going to happen, you're going to do the spot check on your ships. Now, I have 2 ships here. One's built right, one's built wrong. So what you're going to do is you're going to check your ships, make sure that all your pieces are in legal locations. And if they're not, you're kind of in trouble here, because if they're not, you have to remove the mistakes, and you can't actually replace them at all at this point. So if you have any mistakes, you're pretty much in trouble. Look at this ship right here. You'll say there's actually 2 mistakes on the ship. And again, since we're at that point where we're actually doing the spot check, the only thing to fix it is to remove the mistakes, and we can't replace them with anything. So if you look at this ship, you see that there's a double connected to a single, which makes that an illegal connection. And since these other 2 pieces aren't connected to the ship in any way, and this is not a legal connection, all 3 of these pieces are going to be removed from your ship. Additionally, you'll see over here we have a double connected to a single, and none of these other 2 pieces are still connected to the ship in any way, so we're going to have to remove all 3 of these pieces, leaving us with a ship that doesn't even have any engines at the beginning of the race. These pieces that you remove from your ship that weren't legal placements are going to count against you at the end of the game, or correction, at the end of the round. So you want to avoid having these kind of mistakes, because they're going to cost you quite a bit. Once your spot check is done, it's time to populate your ship with its crew and its batteries and prepare the adventure stack and get ready to fly across the galaxy. First thing you're going to do is you're going to look at all your crew quarters, including your main crew quarters that comes in the color of your player. And that one always gets 2 astronauts. That's the only thing that can ever go in your main astronaut cabin of your own color. After that, any crew quarter that's next to one of these life support systems can either get 2 astronauts or 1 alien in the color of this life support system next to the cabin. So for example, I can put a purple alien here or a purple alien in this space. Go ahead and pick this space right here. That means this one will get 2 astronauts placed inside it. This one is a brown life support next to a cabin. We're going to go ahead and put our brown alien in that one. We have 2 more astronauts to place right here. And that's all our cabins filled up. We now have 3 batteries to fill up with battery tokens. Simply place 1 battery token for every picture of a battery you have. So if you have multiple battery tiles, you can get multiple battery tokens. Your spaceship is now ready for the flight. It's now time to do a quick little prep on the flight board and you're ready to go. Your flight board is going to tell you how to set up the adventure stack, and it's going to be different depending on if it's the first flight, second flight, or the third flight. For example, for the second flight, it's going to show you that you're going to take 2 level 2 adventure cards and 1 level 1 adventure card in 3 stacks plus a 4th stack that nobody's going to get to look at before the ships take off. It's also going to show you how you're going to position your ships on the racetrack around the galaxy there. And there's going to be a backside for the level 3 for the final race, where it's going to show you can take 2 level 3 cards, 1 level 2, 1 level 1 card in each one of these 3 stacks on the flight board. And it's just a friendly reminder, you're going to place it right over here as the flights go on. For the first flight though, we're going to start off with 2 level 1 cards, and each one of the player's ships are going to be 1 space apart. The number 1 player is going to place their ship right here on the red triangle. Since blue is going to be our number 1 player, they're going to place their ship here. Then each additional player is going to place their ship 1 additional space back. Red's going to go 1 space back. Yellow will go 1 space back. Green will go 1 space back. And if we're playing a 5-player game, orange will go 1 more space back. And then you're going to take your matching ship token and place it on your flight board. You're then going to draw 2 additional adventure cards. And again, that's going to vary depending on what level you're at. If it was level 2, it would be 2 additional level 2 and a level 1. Flip it over. You know the rest there. You're going to take these cards and you're going to shuffle them together. And this is going to judge how many adventures and what kind of adventures our spaceship pilots are going to encounter while they're trying to fly across the galaxy. Now, the adventure cards are where most of the chaos and the fun are going to happen in the game. I'm going to take a quick moment to go over just the basic adventure cards for you. There are a lot of more complex adventure cards that you want to be prepared for, but I don't want to ruin the fun for you the first time you play. First kind of adventure card we're going to have are the planet cards. Now, the player in the lead is going to get the first chance to pick whatever planet they're going to land on. They're going to pick whatever planet they're going to land on, and they're going to pick up the goods that are associated with that planet. So if you have enough holds to get 2 of the radioactive cargo goods, you're going to want to pick those up, especially if you have the cargo holds, because they're going to be worth 4 credits at the end of the race. Now, if this planet is already taken, the next person online gets the choice to pick either this planet or this planet based on their cargo holds and what kind of money they want to get at the end of the race. If the player decides to actually land on the planet, they are going to lose 2 days on the racetrack though. So if blue lands on this planet, he's going to have to back up 2 spaces. And remember, at the end of the race, whoever's in the lead is going to get a couple extra credits based on their position in the race. Next kind of card we're going to have are the smugglers. Smugglers are going to have every player. Now remember, these adventure cards affect every player. The first person in the lead is going to get a chance to defeat the smugglers or be the victim of the smugglers. The first person has at least 4 guns, 4 power worth of guns. You're going to add up all your guns, and depending on their positioning, that's going to judge how much power they have. If you have at least 4 power or more, you can defeat the smugglers. Now, if you defeat the smugglers, you can decide to do nothing, or you can lose another day on the track around the board and decide to take all 3 of these pieces of cargo. If you don't have enough gun power, the smugglers are actually going to take cargo away from your ship, and they're going to take the most expensive cargo first. Next, we're going to have open space. Now, open space is going to have every player adding up the total power of their engines, powered by batteries or not, and they're going to advance their ships on the track by however many engines they have, starting with the player in the lead. It's possible for players to pass each other up and also eventually lap players, and if you ever do get lapped, you're actually out of the race. Next, we're going to have special cards, for example, like the Stardust card, which is going to have you count up all the open connectors on your ship. Now, an open connector is a connector that doesn't have anything attached to it, and for every open connector, for example, with this card, you're actually going to lose 1 flight day. So if you have 9 open connectors, you're going to go back 9 spaces on the flight board. Next thing we're going to have are abandoned ships. Now, abandoned ships are a nice thing. If you permanently give up 3 crew members from your ship, you can lose 1 day and gain 4 credits. If you choose not to do that, the next player in line gets to do it, and so on until either everybody passes or somebody gives up 3 crew members, loses 1 day, and gains 4 credits. Next, we're going to have combat zones. Now, combat zones are really nasty little cards, and they are going to affect everybody. What you're going to do is you're going to take them in order, and there's different combat zone cards. This is one of the basic ones. First, every player is going to add up how many total astronauts and aliens they have aboard their ship. Whoever has the least amount of astronauts and aliens aboard their ship is going to lose 3 days from the racetrack. They're going to go back 3 spaces. Next, everybody's going to add up their total engine power. Whoever has the least amount of engine power is going to permanently lose 2 crew members. And then finally, everybody's going to add up their gun strength. Whoever has the weakest guns is going to get shot out by a small fire and by a large fire. Next, we're going to have meteoric swarms. These are fun little cars. Meteors come by, blow up parts of your ship, makes things a little bit more exciting for you. A large meteor can only be stopped by a gun. Small meteors are stopped by either hitting a piece of your ship that doesn't have an exposed connector or by shields. And when a meteoric swarm comes along, you're simply going to roll the 2 dice that come with the game, and you're going to notice that along your board there's a series of numbers. There's a row and column and numbers anywhere from 2 to 12. You're simply going to roll the dice. Hopefully the dice don't drop. You're going to add them up, and the meteor is going to come down that column. So for example, this large meteor is going to come down whatever column you rolled. So if you rolled, for example, a 7, it's going to come down and it's going to hit the first thing that's there, unless you have a gun to stop the large meteor, or unless you have a shield to stop the small meteor, or it'll bounce off a space that doesn't have an exposed connector. Now an exposed connector would be this, but if this happened to be turned like this, the small meteor would simply bounce off because there's no exposed connector for it, and it's just going to go away. Finally, we're going to have the abandoned station cards. Abandoned station cards are nice. Again, the first player in the league gets a first right of refusal, and all they have to do is simply have at least 5 crew members. Now, they don't have to discard them or lose them, just have a crew big enough to search the abandoned station. If they have at least that amount of crew members and they're willing to lose 1 day from their flight board, they get some free cargo to add to their ship. Now, those are just the basic adventure cards for level 1. There's cards all the way up to level 4, and they get really nasty, but it gives you a rough idea. I think you have a rough idea of how the game is played. I'm going to show you the scoring once everybody makes it to the end, and then I'm going to show you a sample game. After all the players have encountered the final adventure card for this stage of the race, you're simply going to pull out the flight board, and you're going to figure out who is in the lead, and the player in the lead is going to get credits based on their position on the board. Player 1 in the lead gets 4 credits, 3 for second place, all the way down to 1 credit for 4th place. And remember, it's going to figure out who's in the lead going around this board. It doesn't matter where you're actually on the board. So if everybody got shifted back, it's whoever's furthest ahead along this track. Next, the person who has the best looking ship, which means the least amount of exposed connectors on the ship, which means you're going to get blown up too badly on your trip in, you're going to get some extra credits. Then you're going to hand in your cargo that you got. If you made it with cargo, it's going to give you some extra credits. And then finally, every player is going to lose 1 credit for each piece of their ship that got blown up to a maximum based on ship size. So the small ship can lose a maximum of 5 credits. The medium ships can lose a maximum of 8 credits. So even if a medium ship had blew off, lost like 15 pieces from its ship, the max you never lose is 8. After you're done with that, you're going to start all over with the second race. Basically the same thing, build up your ships, create the adventure deck, fly across the galaxy, hope you make it, do it a 3rd time for the 3rd lap of the race, and then you're going to add up all the credits. Whoever has the most credits wins, but again, like I said, if you make it just with 1 credit, consider yourself a winner. Now that you understand how to play Galaxy Trucker, I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple sample rounds and actually probably take you almost through the first stage of the race here. Of course, I want to make you suffer through the extended time lapse of shipbuilding, so we're going to get a little bit of Benny Hill music and a quick little shipbuilding experience. we're done building our ship, we have to do the quick ship check to make sure that we don't have any illegal connections. Do a quick spot check, and looks like everything I have is legal. All open connections with open connections. Don't see anything obviously where I made any quick mistakes. So it looks like we're ready to populate our ship with a crew. First thing we need to do is, or the easiest thing to do is usually just to populate all the battery compartments. Simply put a battery token for each battery pictured on your ship. So each one of these doubles is going to get 2 batteries apiece. Next we come up to the decision about our crew quarters. Well, we got our life support systems, and the only place we can place the purple alien would be on this one. So we're going to go ahead and place our purple there. Only place we can place our brown alien will be right there. Next we get to place our astronauts on the board. Our main compartment, our captain's quarters, if you want to call it that, gets 2 astronauts. And every remaining cabin is also going to get 2 astronauts, as long as there's no alien inside it. And our ship is now ready to take off, and we'll pretend we were number 1 building our ship, so we'll take the number 1 shot. Next we go ahead and place our spaceships on the spaceship board. Number 1 gets a place in the red triangle, and since we're on the first lap of the race, everybody's going to place 2 spaces back. And then we're going to take our adventure stack, draw 2 additional cards, shuffle them together, and we're now ready to begin the race. We're all set up for a game now. All our ships are built, they all pass their spot checks, and we're ready to blast off and face our first adventure. The lead player, the blue player, is going to turn over the top card, and we're going to encounter pirates. Now these pirates are not too bad. They're going to require at least 5 gun strength to defeat. If you have enough gun power, you're going to have the option to lose a day and gain some credits for blowing them out of the sky. If you don't have enough gun power, you're going to get shot at by these nasty little pirates. The first person who has a chance to fight the pirates is going to be the blue player, since they're in the lead. Now, as it stands, they have 2 gun power, and if they spend a battery, they'll have 4 gun power. Normally that wouldn't be enough to defeat the pirates, but we have a purple alien aboard our ship, and purple aliens add 2 to our gun power as long as we have at least enough guns to power. So if we spend 1 battery, we're going to get 2, 4, 5, 6, more than enough to defeat the pirates. Blue go ahead and decides to lose the day of travel to actually destroy the pirates to gain the 4 credits. Pirates are going to be defeated, and blue is going to gain 4 credits, which are going to be kept face down because we keep our credits hidden from our opponents so they don't know just how much money we have. Our first day of adventure was pretty easy. Time to move on to the second day. Blue player still in the lead, flips the top card over, and we get the abandoned station. The abandoned station says if you have at least 6 crew members and you're willing to give up 1 day on your flight board, you can gain 2 radioactive cargo as long as your ship can hold it. Blue can actually hold 1 radioactive cargo. They do have 1 radioactive cargo hold, and not only that, they actually have 10 crew members aboard, and blue thinks it's going to be worth it. They're going to lose 1 day on their flight path, which is going to put red in the lead now, and they're going to get 2 radioactive cargoes. Unfortunately, their ship can only hold 1 of those, so the other one's going to be discarded and go to waste, but that's going to be worth 4 credits at the end, so that's definitely worth it for the blue player to go for the credits there. It's the end of the second day. Red is in the lead. Now would be the chance for the red player to draw the top card. And the next card we're going to get is an abandoned ship. Red has the first choice to see if they want to encounter this card or not. And it's going to require them to discard 3 crew members permanently from their ship, but if they do, they're going to lose a day and gain 4 credits. Unfortunately, Red only has 4 crew members aboard their ship. And actually, they have 6. Sorry, I can't believe I missed that. Red has 6 players aboard their ship, and losing 3 isn't really a good position at this point, especially since there's still things like smugglers, and Red really doesn't have a very powerful ship with only 2 guns. So Red is going to go ahead and pass, and it's going to go on to Blue, who gets the opportunity to see if they want to go ahead and take advantage of this card. Blue actually has 10 crew members, so they have no problems doing this. They discard 2 astronauts from here, and they go ahead and lose another astronaut. Go ahead and pick here. Blue's going to go back one more day. They're now in 3rd place, but they're going to gain 4 credits for doing that. Again, the credits are placed face down, and that's the end of the 2nd day. We now move on to the 3rd day. It's the 3rd day. Red player is still in the lead. They get to draw the top adventure card, and we get to encounter a meteoric swarm. The red player is going to roll, and that meteoric swarm is going to affect all the players. So we're going to roll for the first meteor, the large one that's going to come from the front. And we're going to roll a 9. So red is going to encounter it first. Red doesn't have any guns in that spot, and a shield does not stop a large meteor, so they're going to lose a part of their ship. They're going to lose their cargo hold. Fortunately, the rest of their ship is still connected, so they're not going to lose additional pieces. Next person in line is going to be the green player, who is going to look at the 9 column, and they do have a gun, but they have a double gun, which is going to require a battery to power. Fortunately, they do have plenty of batteries, so they're going to discard a battery, which is going to blow that meteor up, and green is not going to lose anything from their ship. Next, the blue player is going to go. They're going to look at their 9 column and see that they also have a gun. It's a single gun, doesn't need a battery, so that meteor is going to be destroyed. The next thing is going to be a mini meteor, which is going to come in at the players from their left. Roll the dice. We're going to get a 10, which is going to miss everybody's ship. And then finally we will get the last small meteor, which is going to come in from the other side of the board. We'll get a 5. Starting with the red player, we'll look at the 5 column. It's not going to hit any exposed connectors, so it'll bounce off. Could have powered the shield if it would have activated exposed counter, but we're safe. We're going to move over to the green players next in line. We're going to look at the 5 column, which is going to miss our ship because we don't have anything there. And then finally we're going to come to the blue player. 5 column is going to bounce right off our ship. Nothing's going to happen. So far our spaceships are actually doing pretty good on this flight. Time for the next ship. Red is going to draw the top card again, and we're going to get open space. What all the players are going to do is they're going to add up their engines, as many engines as they're willing to power with batteries if they choose to do so, and starting with a lead player, they're going to advance that many spaces. Red only has 2 engines, and they don't have any double engines, so it's easy for them to figure out. They're going to advance 2 spaces. Green is the next player in line. They have 3 single engines and a double engine. No problems discarding a battery to power that engine. That's going to give them a total of 5 engine strength. They're going to advance 5 spaces. That's going to put them in the lead currently. And finally we come to blue. Blue has a single engine and enough battery powers to power that double engine, so they're going to go ahead and do that, and they're going to move forward 3 spaces. Our ships are actually doing really good. We only have 3 more days to go. Green is the new leader, so they will draw the top card, and we're going to go ahead and encounter another meteoric swarm. Luckily this is a pretty easy one with only small meteors, so as long as we have shields or non-exposed connectors we should be fine. The first meteor swarm is going to come from the front. Green is going to roll, see where it's going to hit all the players. Green is going to roll a 10, which is going to miss all our ships. The next one is going to come from behind. Green is going to roll for all our players. They're going to roll a 9. So starting with the green player, we see a 9 has no exposed connectors. We move to red, we see that 9 has no exposed connectors. We finally move to blue, 9 has no exposed connectors. We're fine. Next one is going to come from the left. We're going to roll a 9, which is going to start with the green player. Not going to hit any exposed connectors. Red is the same, and finally blue is the same. Looks like everybody's got some pretty well built ships. Finally we're going to roll for the last one. We're going to get a 5. Going to miss green ship completely. Red ship is going to bounce off, and finally blue ship is also going to bounce off, and that meteoric swarm is going to be done. Green is going to draw the next card, and now we're going to get something interesting, a combat zone card. Now for the combat zone card, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to handle the top row, which is going to have us count up the crew size, and whoever has the smallest crew size is going to move back 3 spaces. We'll start with green. Green currently has a crew size of 6. Red currently has a crew size of 6. And blue currently has a crew size of 7. Now, since two players are currently tied for deciding who has the least amount of crew members, what this means is that the person in the lead is going to suffer the penalty. This is one of those times where it's not good to be in the lead. Green player is currently ahead of red, so green is going to suffer the penalty of having the least amount of crew members, and they're going to move back 3 spaces. And put them back 1, 2, 3, putting them just behind the blue player. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to judge the engines. Whoever has the least amount of engine strength is going to suffer the penalty of losing 2 of their crew members. And it's going to start with the lead player, who's going to pick first. The lead player is red. They don't have any engines to power up, so their engine power is automatically 2. Blue is next, and if they don't power up at least one of their engines, they're automatically going to be behind red, and they don't want to do that. So they're going to spend one of their batteries. That's going to put their battery power at 3, which is ahead of red, which should make them okay. Now it comes down to green. Green has 3 engines even without powering up. Even if he doesn't power up, he still doesn't have the least amount of engines, so he doesn't really have to do anything. So he's going to spend no batteries and just coast along, which is going to leave red the victim of our least amount of engines. So red is going to lose 2 crew members. Red picks 2 crew members, wanting to keep his aliens. And then finally we're going to handle the last section of the combat zone, which is going to be being shot at. The player with the weakest amount of guns is going to be shot at twice, and we're going to start with the lead player. Red has 0 guns unless they power up their guns. Red has plenty of battery power, so they're going to spend the 2 to get at least 2 gun power. We're going to move to blue, who's next, who has 2 gun power. If they spend a battery, which they have, that's going to put them at 4. They're going to be okay, so now they're in the lead. Now green, who is the next to judge, only has 1 gun power unless they spend a battery. If they spend 1 battery, they're going to be okay. They're not going to have the least amount of gun power, so they'll spend 1 battery, and they're going to have the second, or they're not going to have the least amount of gun power, so they're going to be okay. Now, don't forget the purple aliens are also going to add to your gun power, but I'm not factoring in for the simple fact that all 3 of our players have the purple alien, and it's not going to affect their placing. So yes, technically red has 4, blue technically has 6, and green technically has 5, but it's still the same after effect. Red is still going to have the least amount of guns, so they're going to get shot at twice. The first shot is going to come from behind. It's going to be a small shot. It's going to hit the 7 section, which would blow out the shields, but since it's small gunfire, we can actually spend a battery to power our shields, so we're not going to take any damage from that one. So we're safe. And then the second shot is going to come in from behind. It's going to roll an 8. Unfortunately, shields don't stop the large gunfire, so we are going to lose an engine. Luckily, it's not going to disconnect any parts of our ship, so we're okay there. And that's going to be the end of that adventure card. We have 1 adventure card left, and then we get to add up our scores and land at our destination. It's time for the last adventure card to be flipped, which would be flipped over by red since red is in the lead, and we are going to encounter open space now. This is the last chance for players to try to get in the lead, and we're going to start with the red player who only has 1 engine plus the extra 2 from having the brown alien. They're going to move up a total of 3 spots. 1, 2, 3. Next player in line is going to be blue. Blue is going to spend a battery. Has no problem doing that. It still leaves the 1 battery left, and this is last adventure, so not a big deal. They're going to have 3 plus their brown alien for a total of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then finally green's chance to do the same. They're going to power up one of their double engines. They're going to have a total of 5 plus 2 from the brown alien is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That puts green in the lead when they all land at their final destination. Green's in the lead, blue's in second place, and red's now in third place. Let's go and figure out how much money everybody's going to make from landing at their destinations. Now we're going to add up the cosmic credits. We're going to start by figuring out who's going to get the most cosmic credits for coming in first place. Green is in the lead. That's going to give them 4 cosmic credits, which is going to be added to their shipboard or to their side on a player hand. Doesn't really matter. Blue came in second, so they're going to get 3 cosmic credits. Again, face down so nobody else can see it. And red came in third, so they're going to get 2 cosmic credits. Next, we're going to find out whose ship looks the best, which means the least exposed connectors. Looks like green has 4, blue has 6, red has also 6, so blue has the best looking, or correction, green has the best looking ship. Now you got 2 additional cosmic credits. And then finally we're going to sell our goods. Looks like blue is the only one who has goods to sell. They're going to sell their hazardous cargo for 4 credits. And then finally, every player is going to have to lose 1 credit for each piece of their ship that fell off, up to the maximum. Looks like only red lost pieces of their ship. They lost 2 pieces. They're going to lose 2 credits. And that's the end of the first lap. Looking at the total standings at the end of the first lap, red has no money. It looks like blue has Blue has 15 and green has 6. That'd be the end of the first race. It's now to set up the board for the second race. Everybody loses all their components except for their main starting cabins. Everybody flips over their boards, starts with their second blueprint, and you're ready to start the second round. Do this for 3 rounds. Whoever has the most money at the end is the winner. As a father of 2 young sons, it's very important for me to find games that I can enjoy and play with my sons. Anytime I can find a game that is great for adults and good for kids, especially my 4-year-old and my 7-year-old, to me that's a definite bonus. Galaxy Trucker lists as a game for 2 to 5 players, ages 13 and up. You can play anywhere from maybe 45 minutes to about an hour and a half. Can get a little bit longer once you start including all the expansions though. Galaxy Trucker though, playing the very base game is very simplistic. Now don't take that to mean the game is too simplistic to be enjoyable. It's actually a lot of fun. It's just simplistic enough that a younger mind can understand it. It's very easy to understand to attach the connectors, easy to understand to match them up. It's not too confusing. There's only 3 different kinds of connectors, and that's actually a really good learning skill for kids to have, is to have those connectors making those connections. So it's actually a bonus right there already. Plus they need to know they have to have engines and the facing of the engines and the guns, plus the randomness of the game, which makes it great for younger kids, because those deep strategy games, they're hard for the younger kids because younger minds have trouble forming those deeper strategies. Galaxy Trucker has enough luck and enough randomness and skill for a younger player to play and enjoy and still feel like they actually have a chance. I've been beaten at this game by my 4-year-old, and he loves this game. He has fun with it. He's played it many times. He gets a kick out of it. He laughs when he's playing it. When I start losing pieces for my ship, he has a blast with it. I think Galaxy Trucker listed as a 13 plus is a misnomer. I think the game should definitely be listed as a 7 or 8-year-old plus. I think the only reason why they listed 13 plus is the size of the components. The game does have some very small components, and I know that sometimes that influences ratings for games. Honestly, the simplicity of teaching the game, the simplicity of understanding the basic game is really simple to understand for a younger child, making this a really, really fantastic family game. It plays 2 to 5 players, which can handle most families. It's enjoyable at all player counts. The basic game isn't so long that a younger child is going to get bored halfway through it, plus the fact that the game changes up. You have a couple minutes building your board, then you put everything off to the side, and then you're going to start flipping over the cards and having the encounters. There's not much reading involved in these cards. I mean, even a child who can't read can figure out these cards. Then look at the symbols. That symbol means guns. Look at that symbol. That means meteors. Doesn't require any reading. All they have to do is just recognize the symbols. This game, I can't emphasize it enough. Definitely a great, great family game for any child ages 5, 6, 7, all the way up. Easy to understand, easy to teach, a lot of fun for younger kids. It's random enough to get rid of the skill element and still give the younger kids a chance. But it's great for the kids to at least get a chance to interact with their family and still enjoy a game without feeling like they're overwhelmed and lost. I think Galaxy Trucker is a great, great, fantastic family game. I'll pull it out and play with my kids anytime, and pull it out and play with the adults, making it Galaxy Trucker a great family game. Galaxy Trucker list that says you can play up to 2 hours. And actually, one of the best things about Galaxy Trucker is the fact that a lot of the actions are simultaneous, which means that whether you're having 2 players, 4 players, or 5 players, the game is not going to increase in its time play too much with more players, which is a great bonus for the game. The building of the ships, whether you're having 2 or 5 players, everybody's interacting at the same time. The flight boards, when you're suffering the adventure cards, it's one person rolling and everybody's suffering the consequences at the exact same time. A lot of the game is just designed to play very quickly, and it's definitely a bonus for the game. And that's why I can easily say that the game is fun at multiple player counts, because it doesn't feel like it drags on when you add more players. And that's one of the things you have to consider whenever you have a game that has luck like this game. Now, it's not a 100% luck-based game. There's a lot of skill in building your ships and building them well. A newer player is going to get totally overwhelmed and not understand which are the best ship parts for the various stages of the game. And so there is some skill to it, but there is a lot of luck in it. Whether you're flipping over the right components, whether another player is faster and grabbing the component you need. So there is some luck in it, but not to the point that it's really going to ruin your fun of the game. And luck-based games, you don't want them to be too long or have it points where players are not interacting with the game. And Galaxy Trucker does a good job of eliminating both those negatives. It keeps all players involved constantly, and it doesn't get longer by adding more players. I enjoy Galaxy Trucker on multiple player accounts, think it's a fantastic game on multiple play accounts, and would wholeheartedly recommend it to any player group, whether you're playing with 2 players all the way up to 5 players. There is one small caveat to that though. The game can be a little bit simpler with 2 players, especially when you have some of the cards that only affect like the planets, where you only get 2 planets to land on. Well, if you only have a 2-player game, both players are going to get a chance to land on the planets. Whereas opposed, if you have a 5-player game, only 2 players are going to get the chance to land on the planets, making the race for first, second, and third place a little more cutthroat. Overall, I think Galaxy Trucker is a fantastic game. It's got a lot of humor to it. It's a lot of fun. I didn't go too much into it, but the rulebook has got a lot of humor in it. The gameplay itself can be a lot of fun and kind of slapsticky, especially if you have a couple of beers in you and everybody's fighting for those game pieces. You may get a little of that little hand judo going on, which just adds a little more to the fun. The game has tons of replay. Now, I didn't get into it too much because I didn't want to confuse the game, but this box comes with 2 expansions, and each one of those expansions is basically a series of mini expansions. The first expansion adds 5 different things that you can integrate into the game, including evil machinations, which can make things much more devious and allow you to fight off other players and you'll have a little bit more interaction there. There's also the even Steven cards, which can be used to help balance the game, where new players still have a chance versus veteran players, because this is definitely a game where veteran players have a very, very strong chance of defeating newer players, because they understand the concepts of the game and what are the good pieces to get and when. And those even Steven cards are great for balancing that out. The game has so much replay value. If you manage to include all the extra components from all the expansions, you're going to have one heck of a game. It's going to be challenging, and nobody's probably going to win, but you're probably going to have a heck of a lot of fun doing it, and that's just the fun of the game. Everybody's going to blow up. You have fun watching the ships blow up. When another opponent has half their ship blow up, you just sit back and laugh at them, because that's just the comedy and the fun of the game. It's something I really like about the game. Like I said, the game is really customizable. You can integrate whatever expansions you want into the game. If there's some expansions you like, add them. If you don't, take them out. That's the great thing about the game. There's other aliens I didn't show you. There's aliens, they're the cyan aliens. They have special abilities, random abilities. Each expansion comes with extra components for the game. There's dual components such as a battery, cargo space. There's an engine gun. There's extra components out there. There's steel plating. There's tons and tons of more components just to add to the complexity and the fun level of the game. I like how the fact that the base game is simple enough to make it a great family game, but still challenging and enjoyable enough for anybody to play, whether it's with adults or with other younger people. Great aspect of that. I like how it really makes it a great family game on that one. The difficulty level can be adjusted, again, through those even Steven cards, or if you have a group of veteran players, you can really crank up the difficulty in this game by including all the extras, and you're going to have a heck of a fun time. If you've been playing this game for a while like I have, you're going to be building really good ships really easily using just the basic rules. And I don't want to say the game gets boring, but it gets really easy if you have a group of veteran players. So I definitely recommend starting to throw in those extra expansions. It's going to add a lot to the fun and definitely add to the challenge and keep you coming back and enjoying and playing the game. I also like how the game has simultaneous gameplay from the shipbuilding to the flights to the adventure cards. Everybody feels like they're interacting with the game at the same time. It's not one of those games where you have one person doing all the interacting, taking their turn while everybody else is basically sitting off to the side. Everybody's interacting at the same time. Everybody's enjoying the game at the same time, and everybody's being punished at the same time by the games. But that's another story. The game is great with multiple player counts. Of course, games like this are always going to be a little bit better with the more players because you're going to get the rowdiness of the crowd. Everybody's going to start taunting each other, start making fun of each other, especially when somebody's perfectly laid out ship suffers a really bad roll and half their ship blows up and everybody else just laughs at them. But you go on and you have fun because that's the idea of the game. You're here to have fun, and this game does a great job letting you have fun with it. The rules for the game are really simple and concise, even when you start adding in all the extra things. It can get a little complex though, like I said, when you start adding in those extra expansions. So I wouldn't just jump into the game throwing in all those extra expansions, especially with a new player, because these expansions will get brutal. A new player will just get absolutely destroyed by some of these later cards, especially when you start playing in the cards that allow you to cause the other players to start having a lot of problems. The game also, I must reiterate, has some of the best rule books I've ever seen. They're fun to read, they're funny, there's lots of little inside jokes, a lot of homages to classic sci-fi games. Heck of a lot of fun to read these rule books. Now, I think Galaxy Trucker is great, but it's not a perfect game, and there are some negatives to it, and you need to understand those negatives before you just jump in and see if this is going to be a game for you. The game can get really luck dependent, whether it's because you built your ship wrong or you didn't anticipate the adventure cards that were going to come out, because the adventure cards are going to come out randomly. Now, you can look at the adventure cards while you're building your ship, and that is an option, but you have no way of controlling the order they're going to come out. You don't have any way of controlling the dice rolls that you're going to get. You may have a great ship that has one Achilles heel, and that one roll is going to come along and take out the Achilles heel, and your perfect ship's going to fall apart. Or you may not even get the pieces you need to build because you're reaching for that piece, but opponents to your left will just had a quicker hand to reach down and grab that piece you needed. And as an integral piece to build your ship, and that sand timer's running out, you're out of time, and it's time to fly off that ship that probably isn't going to make it. But again, that's part of the fun, but it is also part of the luck of the game. The game can also feel really, really brutal. You can sometimes may feel like you're being picked on because those dice rolls are just not going to be your friend. Again, there's no way around it. It's just the nature of the game. You either really like that randomness or you don't. And if you don't, you may want to consider that before you give Galaxy a Trucker a purchase. Definitely give it a try though. The game also does take a certain kind of play group to really, really enjoy it. It's not a beer and pretzels game, but it's almost as close as you're going to get to a beer and pretzels kind of game, especially with the randomness like I mentioned and the luck. And you're definitely going to have a group, if you have a group that likes to do a lot of ribbing and teasing and giving a hard time to the other players, the game's going to feel a lot more fun if you play with that kind of group. Don't get me wrong though, the game is fun with the people who like to do a little more thinking, but they may miss out on a little of the more subtle humor, but you're still going to have a lot of fun playing the game. Overall, the Anniversary Edition is a fantastic package. You're paying $125 and you're getting everything from the base game, the expansions, everything that's been released for the game. If you've never purchased anything for Galaxy Trucker, this is definitely the way to go. You're going to get everything for the game, and trust me, once you start playing this game, if you like it, you're going to want all those expansions. They add a heck of a lot of fun to the game and a lot of extra challenges and an extra lot of difficulty. And they also change up the game a little bit and allow a lot more player interaction and actually allow players to start basically screwing each other over by various cards. If you purchased Galaxy Trucker in the past, now we come down to the real question. Is it worth buying this if you bought Galaxy Trucker in the past? Well, that's going to be up to you to answer at this point. If you have the base game and you're considering getting the extra expansions, I would probably say it is worth getting the Anniversary Edition and selling off the basic game, because with the difference of selling off the base game, you're probably going to break even and you're going to get this nice storage solution. If you already own the base game and one or even both expansions, I don't think this is really worth it for the extra storage, unless you can find a buyer for other parts, but probably not going to be worth it. Your only thing you're getting from owning the Anniversary Edition that somebody owns everything else is going to be those Even Steven cards, and I think you can actually pick those up by going to Board Game Geek or maybe contacting Vlada Shavato's company directly. Galaxy Trucker, I think it's a great fun game. It's definitely different from anything else Vlada Shavato has ever designed, especially if you played games like Mage Knight or Through the Ages. You're going to find this game a lot different. I think he's a great designer. I think he makes fun games, and Galaxy Trucker is definitely another great Vlada Shavato game. If you're looking for a fun, luck-based game with strategy thrown in, a great theme, lots of fun, going to bring a lot of good times, especially with a great group, check out Galaxy Trucker. This has been another off-the-shelf board game review. Thanks for watching.